All right, let's.
We are back for our final topic of the day. And this is a little bit of a somber one, so I'm going to relax and calm down a little bit on this one.
That's why
This,
Charmy's here.
you and that damn Charmander. All you got to do is need a cup of water and pour it on his tail. He's done.
Flame breathe you, but continue. But
uh, Anime deaths. This is a tough one because I like a lot of people always clown people when they get super emotional when it comes to anime deaths. Oh, it's just anime, it's okay. Nah, anime deaths are rough. Anime deaths will hit home are the best animes, even though we hate them for what they've done to us, but we still love it because the story is just so good and it keeps you coming back for more. The first anime deaths that hit home is the ones that's like, oh man, I don't know if I want to keep watching this stuff because this is wild. And for me, the first one that actually not hit home but affected me was Full Metal Alchemist. Not what you're thinking, not what you're thinking. Nina and the dog.
watch that.
That
Back
made me
on
that made me stop watching Full Metal
on Tonight,
Alchemist.
like made me like realize that people could be that mean and evil and like that shit ripped me apart. I was not
Yeah.
okay. I was
Because
not
I
okay.
remember when I watched it because it was like late at night. I was chilling in the bed and I did not know what was on. I was just watching it anyway. And they did that scene when she got merged with the dog, and I was like, "What in the world is happening here?" And I just was just reacting. I flipped out. I changed the channel. I didn't even watch it. I never went back to it until like recently, to this decade. It was a decade after I actually watched Full Metal Alchemist. I realized what it was I was talking about. I didn't know that was like the third or fourth episode in that season when that
That's
happened.
like that's yeah. It's like that. So that's don't get me wrong. In terms of like again reaching out to slime, right? The real fact. When does your real factor kick in?
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. Psychopath, Steins Gate, Steingate. I think it takes like 8 even for like that type of show about time. It took 8 or 9 episodes before it's like, yeah, motherfucker,
Hmm.
yeah. So and some stuff like stuff coming forward like Chainsaw Man or stuff like that are going to be more, oh, it's a more bloodier aggressive show, so
But
obviously it's going to
but
be
deaths and
faster.
those are like relative. That's gonna happen. They're relative. Like shows when you watching where it's fights, but you just think, oh, the main characters are gonna make it. There's nothing bad gonna happen to these lovable characters. We invested in these characters. There's
Right.
time in these characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that's gonna happen. And then all of a sudden, he done wrecks your favorite character in Naruto Shippuden when Asuma gets killed. Asuma dying. I had tears in my eye. I wasn't boohooing, but when you ever just watch something and just all of a sudden the eyes
Because you
get
know he's
watery.
strong. He's a Jonin. You're like, yeah, he's basically like Kakashi. He's got it. He's
He
not like,
got
no
it.
offense to I think it was a Kuramai sensei or something. Like
Yeah,
she thinks
Kurenai. Kurenai.
because she thinks you can genjutsu out of Tachi. Just stop. But like,
That was
okay, you can
stupid.
do regular people. But
That
like,
was all right. First of all,
we
that
only
was
had
dumb.
my point.
You knew that was gonna
So
work.
you only got two Jonin in my head. You've got Asuma and you've got Kakashi, and then you've got other cool people
Yeah,
in the Leaf Village. Right? But like, those are two high quality Jonin, right?
yeah.
There's no way Asuma dies in my head. I watched that. I remember when like my brain broke. I'm like, what? What?
No.
Like,
And in that next episode, they prolonged his death just so he could talk to everybody. I was like, okay, he gonna live. Ino's gonna heal him. He's good. And they're gonna get him to back to the village. They get some medical. They get a medic. Nah, he's like, no, don't move me. I'm not gonna make it. I'm like, no, no way you doing this. Not awesome. Awesome was cool because he was like, no, I'm smoking these cigarettes. I'm incorporating the cigarette smoke in my attacks. I got the crazy cool looking wind blades, the little wind daggers.
and I mean, he came prepared. He was the type of guy
He was very smart.
who he was a fighter. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, that was rough. Now, don't get me wrong. There are other deaths later on in Shippuden. but there was only like 2 or 3 that really
And
affected me.
Jiraiya's death hurt.
Jiraiya dead, and that's crazy. That happened not too long after Asuma's death. They killed 2 big characters very quickly. In that pain arc, the Akatsuki arc itself, they killed Asuma and Jiraiya back to back. It wasn't that many episodes in between those 2 deaths, by the way. Cause they went in on like it wasn't like they just killed Jiraiya. They broke Jiraiya.
They left our boy bloodied. Okay, so I don't like Star Trek in terms of how a new Star Trek did in terms of, but even when I watched them do the con scene in Star Trek 2, and they flipped it for the sake of making it hurt more, that hurt. But that doesn't hurt like watching someone you love get impaled a lot.
like getting their
Like a
throat,
not like a few times like, oh, they bled out and like kind of fell
like
on the ground. No.
Jiraiya getting his throat damn
There's
near ripped out.
there's not gonna be a body for the funeral.
No. Jiraiya getting stabbed by 6 people at once. Him taking shots. Like, he holding his own, but it's still too many. It's 1 against 6. So it's like you're getting just waylaid over and over, not getting a break. Oh, dude, you got one. Nope. Oh, there's one. I can heal him. Come back. Boom, right to the throat. Oh, get shot. Loses your arm. He lost an arm.
An arm. An arm.
Oh no.
But like, don't get me wrong, and I'm not gonna just like stay inside of like Naruto. Unfortunately, there's sadness in every almost
That's sad.
anime. I mean, in Jujutsu Kaisen, there's a death that we cannot talk about that hits hard.
It
That's
hits
just
hard, but it doesn't hit. It hits hard because the setup of how they did it. It didn't hit hard because you had a relationship around the character.
I love how you said that, JC, because the next person I'm gonna say is exactly the same thing, but it's for One Piece fans. Ace's death. Whitebeard's death hurts more when you see everything that everybody in his entire crew is willing to do for him through his multiple divisions and what all these people mean to him, and him doing what he's doing per one of his own son, aka Ace, what he's willing to do. Your heart yearns and feels for Whitebeard. But Ace's death just feels kind of nonchalant, except for Luffy. Except for Luffy, and then watching Luffy go through the pain when he really realizes how bad Ace is dead. Oh,
Ace. Of course, it hurts. Your brother risked his life to save you, and there's nothing bigger than that. A family member who is all powerful that could pretty much do everything you can risk his life to save his little brother. That's like one of the things that, as a family, you have a close family. That's something you want to do. You always say, I'll take a bullet for you. I'll risk my life for you. You're my brother. You're my flesh and blood. You're my sister, all those things like that. Ace did that. And the emotional, that's why it's emotional. The emotional hits that you see on Luffy's face, my brother is gone. And it still affects him. He might not talk about it like in these episodes new, but it probably still will show on his face from time to time. Like it could probably be like an arc where it comes up again where somebody's talking about Ace. And he has another brother too, which like I can't remember his name. But still, it's like that's a big deal. And there are other deaths in the show, but for me, Ace is probably the biggest death that Luffy ever had to deal with.
and he said he would get stronger to when you have to deal with that again. I'm scared for this next upcoming arc because this isn't gonna be pretty. They're setting up a lot of stuff for this for Via Wano, but like I'm scared.
Like the only way that will happen, that death will be top. One of the main crew members will have to die.
Right, and I don't see anybody dying in this arc. Maybe an arc or two later, like they're really in some shit, but like people just usually don't die, you know.
Like Nami,
Now one person
Zoro.
now one person in a particular arc that they were doing per the Big Mom arc, somebody did die and that did hurt. It wasn't pretty. Um but you know,
Wasn't it
and shout out
Robin?
to it. Hmm?
Wasn't it Robin? Did Robin die?
No. That people would have been up in arms
Okay,
if
okay,
that was the
okay.
case.
I thought it was somebody that died. Okay.
You know, but it applies even the same stuff that are current, like the current anime right now, like Attack on Titan. A number of people, and you know, it's not a spoiler, so I'm going to say this particular person's death. When Erwin died, I, that hurt. Like when he first got attacked, and I knew he wasn't going to live. But then even after that, he then continues to say what he says, and how he feels and what he's conveying, and I'm just like, oh my god, I haven't felt this way.
Erwin,
No.
those the this is
And Hans and
the
Hans.
death,
And Hans is death too because
the
Hans.
death and the deaths in Attack on Titan
Jesus.
are rough, right? I get it, but
Those deaths.
it's Attack on Titan though. It's like anyone could die in that show. It's like they showed that off rip from episode 1 and on. It's like, of course you don't want your favorites to die. You don't. And it's going to hurt when they do. Inevitably do. But still, you gotta understand that's going to happen. It's legit war. Anyone could die. There are titans involved, people getting beheaded, people getting eaten, people getting shot, even like your own soldiers attacking you. Like the whole art where Levy was dealing with his truck. That art. That Levy fight scenes, those scenes with Levy were all just
Again, that's why it's like people, y'all better put respect on the animation people's name. These motherfuckers gave you all this shit. Be thankful. Don't give them
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
hear y'all. They're putting this shit out and they can't see their families. And we have standards. Motherfuckers, stop.
Like I said before, I have not started the last season of Attack on Titan
Oh,
for a reason.
right.
I am not going week to week with this mess. No, I am not. I refuse. There's already too much anime out here now that I'm watching one week with. I'm not going out. I've been watching Attack on Titan since the beginning. I will not be going week to week with that emotion. I will take it all at once.
And shout outs to a few famous, other deaths across the board. In Death Note, when L died, not for the sake of feeling for L, but also like, oh, L got beat. Wait, how did he? Oh, and then super shout out to Akame got killed,
Akame got killed when they killed everybody except for the girl, Akame.
and people die. I think some of those deaths are actually really
Some of
important.
those deaths are rough. When that bitch, that damn one with the dog, I hate her so much. The dog and she kills. What is her name? I haven't seen that so long.
I'm gonna lead some of these people untouched because they. Mm-mm. And then of
Hold
course,
on.
personally for me, when Kite got killed, in Hunter x Hunter, that's tough. That's so tough. That's so difficult to go through and just be like, yeah, we're okay. We'll be okay.
Kai, I don't think I've seen. Sheila from Akame got killed when she got devoured by the dog. That was rough. Now there are other deaths in Akame Kill, but that was the biggest one for me because I like that character a lot. This is before I realized, oh, they're killing everybody. So, like all these people are gonna die.
There is no mercy.
It's a great anime. Don't get me wrong.
uh,
You are not getting a second season out of Akame Kill. They made sure of that. They made sure that this is a one-off, sir.
oh,
But like there are other like first one of the biggest ones for me, Kamina from Gurren Lagann, his death.
it hurt.
It hurt.
You thought you lost a friend.
Yeah. Kamina's death. I'm like, That is one anime I have not rewatched. I love it. I love its death, but I can't rewatch that death again.
It
I can't.
hurts.
It hurts because he was the GOAT of hype men. He picked you up when you were down, dude. You believe in me because I believe in you because of the me that line, that line. Oh my god, I'm out here getting hype.
Okay,
I'm out here
and
getting
just for
hype.
posterity reasons, before we learned about sensu beans, the first time they killed Piccolo, and the first time they killed
See, that kind of died off for me because they kept bringing him back.
right before when those deaths mattered, or let's rephrase that, when Vegeta flipped the switch and then killed, went out like a G for fucking up.
Vegeta and the Buu saga.
That
That
that that
like
that suicide mission.
we
Oh
knew he was coming back.
man.
Don't get me wrong, we knew he was coming back.
Mm-mm.
But the way he did it, the way he went out was epic. Because I think they were supposed to finish with the Buu saga, so it was potentially there that he might not come back. But yeah, that scene because it was the speech. It was the speech that got us because it let up because it was like, oh, Vegeta going evil again. Vegeta, it was all about Vegeta, and then he had that one last stand where he was like, you know what? I can't keep doing this. I can't. So I was like, I gotta save my family. I gotta save my kid. Even Goku's little brat.
It's like I can't do this.
I can't do this anymore. I love that. To me, Vegeta is the only character that had worthwhile development. That's it. Goku has never had any development. Goku is Goku. Gohan is trash. Piccolo has had somewhat development, but at the end of the day, it's still Piccolo. So like Vegeta's the only character in that entire show that has developed in a way where everybody, like, even if you're not a Vegeta fan, you cannot second guess his character
No.
development.
Even where he is in Super, so I hear that two people in the manga are still pissed because evidently the development we're looking for it still hasn't happened yet.
For who?
And so for Super,
Yeah.
our friend Vegeta, it's not looking good. It's still not there yet. He hasn't found his moment in the sun. So until he gets that, the series still feels stagnant to me in terms of its development of how it can grow. I was hoping that maybe, hey, it's so bad that we have to bring Cell back. It's so bad that we have to do X and Y and things like that. It would have been more interesting to have more danger, and put more on the line, right? Like you're not gonna win even if you pull this off. You're not gonna have X factors such as, oh, Beerus brings you all back to life, or the Dragon Balls, or something to put something out of play and put the pressure back on,
Mm-hmm.
which evidently was happening, I think, in arcs coming forward in the manga. But if it doesn't appeal to anything like a more serious tournament or something like that, it just feels cheap.
It's just Super is becoming that though. Super is becoming cheap. Tournament of Power was a money grab. We know that. The deaths, all those things in Dragon Ball Z just don't hit hard.
Mm.
Goku sacrifice, Vegeta sacrifice, Chi Chi and all those other people dying when the Buu saga. It just doesn't hit. And it's not because of longevity. It's not because of longevity of the show. It's just because of how they treated deaths in the show. Death doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Remember at one point in time,
It became the fact that death doesn't matter. Same thing with Yu Yu Hakusho and stuff like that. It it became non-important, non-consequential, and that's not acceptable.
yeah,
World Trigger and things like that take that into account of like, hey, okay, once you're out of the game or once your Treon body dies or something like that, it's over. You know,
this is
My
why.
Hero Academia, because of the way that they fight with quirks and stuff, we know now that people lose body parts, people lose eyes and legs, and
Yeah,
some people keep fighting even after that,
hell,
which means
hell,
that
Best Gina still isn't back yet. He still isn't back yet.
And so let's be real here. And he's a strong dude. I mean, All for One fucked him up. Let's be real here.
He got
But
fucked
but
up.
he
But he
and
got
it was
fucked up.
the best villain who
But
fucked him up.
this is
So
my thing. Back to Gurren Lagann. I talk about it a lot because you know what? Whatever. Gurren Lagann is the best anime of all time to me. They didn't treat anything lightly. When Kamina died, you wished he came back, but you just knew he wouldn't come back. A lot of people died in that show. Even if they were small characters, they still died.
yeah, it's for the
You
greater good.
Simon didn't have a happy ending. He didn't.
That poor boy.
I'm just think about it. This and yes, they won the war, but he lost so much to win.
At what cost? At what
Look, think about it.
cost?
He married the girl he loved all his life, only to have her die in his arms and disappear at the very end. And then he walked off into the sunset with him, his drill, and his little ferret thing, and he was out.
This is. I did my part. I took down the evil organization.
Because of that, I refuse to watch the OVAs of Gurren Lagann because I don't want to see them. Because the way that ended, I don't want to see side stories. I don't want to see what's going on with his life after the fact or whatever. That is an ending for me. Eventually, I probably will watch the OVAs. There's a lot of them, and they probably aren't what I think they are. But still, he lost everything to save everyone.
But then you've got weird shows like Canterbury and even like Lock Horizon. They lose people. Like I don't have super deaths that are in my head there, but like there are certain or like okay, Kill a Kill when you think people are actually dead.
Yeah. I love Kill la Kill. Kill la Kill's great.
Oh, you know what? Same thing. Terraformers. You know how many people they lose in that show trying to take over the goddamn Mars, and they realize that they're first. They're like, we're gonna be on the offensive, and then they realize that they lose. Or Darwin's Game when he, or how many people are willing to lose in that, and how many deaths happen.
Glipner. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen it. Glipner. A lot of people die in that, like every episode. And when you find out that all this is from the original Friends, all of this is from all the. It's wild. It's wild. And like we still don't know the whole story yet. Like we know why it's happening. We don't know the end game of this stuff. It's crazy.
Like I remember, like for what was it, Aldo Noah Zero, and then like, oh, we're gonna start showing you this power structure and all these people and this and that, and you just watch MC just be like, and you're dead, and you're dead, and mind you, he takes his toll and he loses a piece for it and then gains a piece for it, and a regular high school, a regular magical high school. How many bodies has that boy put in the morgue? An unlimited amount of bodies in the.
You haven't even seen the second season, right?
I am almost done with it, but I did let it. I think it's finished now.
Yeah, it's finished. Part 1 is finished. I think there's a part 2 coming. Part 1 is finished.
See, I kind of wanted to get like no.
He obliterates a whole squad to save one girl.
Shit's got to be done. But some people aren't willing to do it. But then you have people like him who are people.
But the thing about it, he's calculating is like if she wants to make a choice to live her own life, she can't have all these people following her. He killed them all. I love that, and some people will say it wasn't the best second season. I love that season. I think it's good. I think it leads up to a lot of different things, a lot of different aspects of magic in a literal form, I guess. as little as it can be. But still, I love that season. It's not as better as it's not as good as the first one, no.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to go that route and the way they're doing things. And like, of course, the sister has threats and she has issues with her brother falling in love with someone else other than her. And because originally we thought, okay, it's him, when it's really not him that has the sister complex.
That's the problem.
It's her that has the brother complex.
Trying to teach him emotions again and stuff like that.
And he is learning. But the thing about it is, when him learning these emotions, he's attaching them to other women.
People.
Other
people. And that's not how that's supposed to work per the agreement and stuff like that. And because I'm sure she was debriefed to a certain point and saying, well, you need to be there so you can control him at all the steps away. And in terms of her power, because I think that's where she thought about, hey, they're going to keep checking in on me or whatever and saying you should have control over the entire situation per your aunt, right? And since that's not constantly happening, she now knows that she's losing grip on him because he's attaching his heart to all the other girls who are influenced.
Well, she doesn't care about all the
except
girls.
One girl is on.
She doesn't care. She doesn't care about.
But you want to know who is the president?
The president isn't a factor. The president isn't a factor.
She's making moves to become a real factor, though. She knew she was getting boxed out, and she's not going to make a play.
She's going to make a play. Don't get me wrong. The president will make a play, but it won't matter. The big factor is the blonde chick, the American. Because she's exactly like him.
And he's like, if I can come out of the light, can I take you with me? Maybe I can try to use you as a test case. My own case
the sister has no qualms with any of the other girls. She doesn't really. She gets a little miffed.
She did call Lena a rival.
She gets a little.
You're a real rival to my brother.
But the only one she said was an actual rival was Helena. That's her name, I think. Yeah. That's the only one she ever said that was a rival. The one that's a real threat is her, because she can actually go toe to toe with her. Like she might, So it's wild. So it's like we thought, okay, oh buddy, big brother has a little sister complex. No, it's actually the other way around.
All right.
She has the complex because he has no emotions. He's learning emotions. He's going out of his way to protect other people. He's pulling away, so to speak. Even though he's not, she feels that. She feels that. But in reality, he's really not. I'm just here to protect you. The last death before we close this out. Miss Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, whatever you want to call it. Maze Hughes. We loved Hughes. Maze Hughes was probably by far one of the most lovable characters on that show.
Everybody's got a Hughes. Everybody has a person. Everybody has that, that they're just like, But like to see Mustang, who barely almost came back from war, because those flashbacks hit hard when you need that.
Yeah.
And you understand what they went through in Ishbal.
Ishbal was rough. There wasn't no coming back from Ishbal, like mentally.
And these guys came back, and this man was happy. I don't know when he found her, or he had her before, and that was what he was.
I think it might have been not too long after they came back. I don't quite remember.
And he put his all into a family.
He was a great dad. He kept showing pictures. He kept showing stuff. He was a great dad.
But to watch his family go through that funeral.
Hard.
Even listening to what Mustang has said before, man, that you don't have a heart. If you
Maze Hughes' death did not get the justice it deserved, because Envy should have got wrecked by Mustang. I know I said it so many times, and I know you're arguing for it, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't care. I hate it when they kept saying you don't want to become a monster. You don't want to be like them. Guess what? Mustang been a monster for a long time.
Well, in the first one, if I'm not mistaken, Lust is the one who kills him. So that's why Mustang goes like off and just like slaughters her because he thinks that this is what, and he has to burn her
Wait a minute,
alive.
was it envy or lust that
It
killed
was lust. So the envy thing is kind of her mocking and trying to get them to start back up. So that's why envy just falls away. You know, am I really okay with because they trap him, but
Yeah.
lust is the one that kills him. But
Envy was a part of it, but lust kills him, I think.
yeah,
So
envy set shit up.
yeah.
To make
Envy actually set up most of this stuff.
but then when he's really finds out, and then it's like, oh, it's too late. The fact that he didn't even get to shoot, the fact that he didn't get to run, but then again, that would have made it worse. They're just like, we're just gonna let y'all know it's not gonna.
And they did it off screen, which still it was, but Envy should have got wrecked. I hated that whole argument of Mustang become
Because yeah,
don't
because
become a
yeah,
monster.
because Ishbal, I mean, with a power like that, it's just like saying, oh, is this not somebody who can? It's difficult.
No, because he was already on the ropes. Envy was about to die anyway, so killing himself. I just
And
that was the only thing.
envious of living after humans that he can no longer control.
Yeah, I get what they were trying to do, but that don't mean I liked it. That don't mean I wanted it either.
In the
But
famous words of the one and only K. Dot, poetic justice.
poetic justice ain't shit. Justice is justice.
That's why I like shows like I gotta make La Kill and shit like that. Where like, this is what I came to do,
Yeah.
and I don't care who dies. I'm same thing with Darker. That's why Darker Than Black. I don't care if people call him Chinese Batman. Like Darker Than Black, he ain't got that job done every single time. That's why I respect characters like Hitman, Wick, that can get their job done.
Because I hate that because when they say that, but then when you got put characters like Tanjiro, who's not a monster, but he's
Right,
still,
but like this is why I think it's becoming so great. Especially, I mean, a whole bunch of people can connect to these guys based on their own your own appeal to them. But Zenitsu's for like the people who are just like, all right, having issues with stuff, but hey, I'm gonna be good at this one thing and this one thing. But Zenitsu shows you that you can be really good at it and then compound it and even create new stuff off of it until you figure out how to add more.
But that's what I'm saying was like with
And then you
Tanjiro, it's
got
like
self-taught that
Tanjiro
just leaves self-taught.
kills.
And then Tanjiro is like,
But I'm saying it's like when it comes to the emotion feel of it, it's like Tanjiro is trying to avenge his family. He is not going to find these demons and be like, oh, I'm sorry. No, he is still going to kill them.
oh yeah,
He's going to feel for them, which is great.
at
But
their death.
he is still going to finish the job. Mustang didn't finish the job because of some bullshit. Yes, he has every right to be upset, angry. Do your job. You basically let Envy go. Yeah, Envy actually killed himself because he was envious of the way people live their life, blah, blah, blah. Envy also could have got away if he wanted to. Nobody was paying attention to Envy. What you gonna do? Let Scar do it? Scar wasn't paying attention either.
He was busy fighting.
No, it bothered me. What are you just gonna do? Let him go? I hated that argument. You killed every other creature except Envy. Why? That argument contradicted the entire show and what they were doing, even up to that last point when they were fighting father.
Well, the only way they could know, because the thing is, quote unquote, the only way to fight Envy in that aspect is she wanted you to keep fighting, so it could fuel her. But like, if you had to, like, as bad as it sounds, let it go,
But
just because of them.
I get what you're saying, but like, if the fight was one-sided and he was still losing, it really looked like he was about to kill Envy. Envy was getting smaller and weaker and smaller during that fight. And then by the end of it, he was just a little slime, whatever, slug, and he killed himself.
Yeah.
But it's like, if that was the case, the fight between Envy and Mustang should have been one-sided the other way around.
But he did kind of keep his like, the more mass you have, the more I'll just burn you. So I mean,
Whatever. They do the way they want to do it. It's okay. Whatever. Because you could say lust. Mustang was lusting after lust to kill her, so like it couldn't have worked that way either, but it did.
yeah. I mean, unfortunately, as beautiful as this genre of entertainment is, anime has unfortunately, or not always, but a number of stories like Grimgar, where you lose a person like, the guy who's like the most experienced out of all your team, and he dies anyway to save y'all, slash he dies. It's tough. It's just, animation has such a beautiful and disturbingly beautiful way of showing that emotion rawly. I mean, you know, or even in subtle ways. Like, I remember Bleach deaths. As much as they were saying maybe, hey, the Hollows dying, the elevated Hollows and such, they had stories and they had lived for millennia and they felt and
Yeah, they
persevered,
did.
and
Yeah.
and those deaths, even though they were on the other side, they're like, hey, to lose life or lose my comrades' lives. Don't you think I still feel that? Same thing, to a degree where, like, okay, it's cool seeing Tanjiro feel for them, but most of the time he's only felt them for them at the death, or
At the
okay,
death,
I feel
but
bad
he
for you.
still got the job done.
Done. That's true. Hey, I
So,
mean,
so at the end of the day, though, it's like anime deaths are always going to be. They bring up questions, debates, angry debates.
and
Sometimes.
that's why I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know you're heading with this. That's why Sword Art, this last arc of Sword Art Online, addresses that. That's where they've been leading to. All
Okay.
these seasons and spin-offs and everything was leading to the point of, what's the value of one life against another? What's the life of a human life versus a virtual one that values the same? It's, because of where technology is floating to, and they tried to address it in Altered Carbon on Netflix. It's just a show, but again, a representation of kind of what they're pushing for, trying to say in terms of the point of what represents a soul, what represents life, what represents that. Like, I know I'm referencing another show, but the ancient Magus's bride, and when they kind of teaching her kind of about the human world and the metaphysical kind of spiritual world, and still how they mix and how they blend, and stuff gets pulled, and there's stuff that's not natural even among those worlds, but they are entities. So it's the same, same thing, because they address it again. I know I'm stretching all the shows, but
Yeah.
they address it in kind of into Ghost in the Shell, and that whole basis into one, two, all the movies, and what the major chase is based on how she approaches intelligence.
True.
It's a tangled web, man. It's a
So,
tangled web.
so it's a tangled web, and we'll always debate back and forth on this. But we've been going for a long time. But in the great words of a man with big shades named Kamina, with a man's soul and a strong back, go beyond the impossible and kick reason to the curb.
Whew.
So, in those words, fuck your logic. I don't give a.
Well, hey, plus ultra, ladies and gentlemen. Plus ultra. Hey, have a wonderful, wonderful day. We appreciate all of you listeners, first time listeners, listeners from the day one. We appreciate everybody coming and spending some time with us here on the podcast today. We got
Today was a good one. Today was a good one.
a lot of great stuff coming down the pipes.
Yeah. So, don't worry. Like I said, check us out on anchor.com. This will be up next week real soon. I will get going on it real soon. Keep it real to the next episode and continue to follow us and like us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We are out.
Peace.
My anime list gets longer every day.